Time to go pay a visit to Arbiter, boss.
The robots will scatter, each going its own way.
Try is right.
You were a fool, Horatio, and selfish to the very end.
I suppose I could mediate and advise.
The entire tower is full of generators and power sources that I have scavenged from this dying world.
No.
Sure thing, boss.
It is informative and accurate.
A memory access device. Horatio Nobel, version 5. A pleasure.
War is coming.
One challenge in writing for games is figuring out how to keep the story from standing in the way of the gameplay. With adventure games, players are actually quite tolerant of heavy storylines, lots of dialogue, fairly linear plots, things that lend themselves to making the writing fairly easy. At the same time, though, you really don't want to bog down the player with endless expository dialogue that they may or may not be interested in, and which may or may not be necessary for advancing in the game. Players still tend to prefer dialogue that has some function in terms of setting up puzzles, introducing new areas, and so on. One of the ways that we got around the limitations on how much dialogue we could have without boring the player was the use of the kiosk. Because the kiosk is essentially purely optional, although it does have some puzzle rules, we could fill it up with lots and lots of information that the player can just skip if he doesn't want to read it, but which an interested player, if he's curious about the game's backstory, can spend time digesting.
But now, do you know where it was heading?
All the same, I'm sure he's scrounging in existence somewhere.
It explains about the refuge rule, and says that